In the bustling city of San Francisco, a young man named Ethan Parker stood on the precipice of a new chapter in his life. At 22, Ethan had recently been thrust into the role of leading his family's company. The transition was far from smooth. His father, Henry Parker, a 63-year-old seasoned businessman, had always shielded Ethan from the inner workings of the company, believing that a solid education and real-world experience were vital before taking the reins. However, with Henry's recent withdrawal due to grief over his wife's passing and his own health issues, Ethan found himself at the helm of a vast enterprise, navigating stormy waters with limited preparation. The company's grand office, with its sleek glass walls and polished marble floors, was now Ethan's domain. The once familiar environment now felt imposing and cold. Ethan had spent his days buried in reports and attending meetings, trying to grasp the complex web of operations his father had managed with ease. He could feel the weight of his new role pressing heavily on his shoulders. The atmosphere within the company was tense. Many employees were skeptical of Ethan's capabilities, seeing him as inexperienced and unprepared. One such employee was Robert Adams, a 41-year-old associate who had worked with Henry for years. Robert's demeanor was courteous but edged with a sly undertone. He had always eyed the top position for himself, and Ethan's promotion was a thorn in his side. Robert saw Ethan's lack of experience as an opportunity to undermine him and advance his own ambitions. One afternoon, as Ethan sat in his office reviewing financial reports, he was interrupted by a sharp knock on the door. It was Jessica, his assistant, looking unusually distressed. "Ethan, there's been an incident," she said, her voice tense. "Robert is accusing Samantha, the new housemaid, of theft." Ethan's brow furrowed. Samantha had only recently started working at the company, handling the cleaning and maintenance of the office. She was a young woman in her early 20s, and though she seemed modest and reserved, Ethan had heard no complaints about her work. The accusation came as a shock. "Robert accused her of stealing a briefcase from his office," Jessica continued. "He claims it contained a substantial amount of money." Ethan's mind raced. A theft accusation, especially one involving a large sum, could tarnish not only Samantha's reputation but also the company's. He needed to act quickly to address the situation and uncover the truth. The following day, Ethan called Samantha into his office. She entered nervously, wringing her hands. "Samantha, I understand there's been an accusation against you," Ethan said, trying to keep his tone neutral. "Robert claims you stole a briefcase with $100 million from his office. Can you explain?" Samantha's eyes widened in shock. "I assure you, Mr. Parker, I haven't stolen anything. I don't even know what's in that briefcase." Ethan could see the sincerity in her eyes, but the gravity of the accusation made him wary. "I need to get to the bottom of this," he said. "I'll be conducting my own investigation." As Ethan delved deeper, he discovered that Robert had been vocal about his dissatisfaction with Ethan's leadership. Robert had always seen himself as more suited for the role Ethan now occupied, and the theft accusation seemed like a calculated move to discredit him. Ethan felt a pang of doubt but remained resolute. He knew that uncovering the truth was crucial not only for Samantha's sake but also for maintaining the integrity of the company. Meanwhile, Ethan found himself reflecting on his past. His relationship with Jessica, a wealthy young woman accustomed to a life of luxury, had ended because their values and lifestyles were incompatible. Jessica had been demanding and used to getting her way, and their differing priorities had driven a wedge between them. The end of that relationship had been painful, but it had taught Ethan a valuable lesson about staying true to oneself and not letting money or appearances dictate one's choices. Back at the office, Ethan decided to take proactive measures. He knew that if Robert was truly trying to sabotage him, he needed evidence to expose his scheme. Ethan began to scrutinize every detail of Robert's accusations and track down any discrepancies. The investigation would not be easy, and Ethan could feel the pressure mounting. The situation took a new turn when Ethan received a mysterious note left in his office. It was unsigned but contained a message that hinted at deeper layers to the case. The note suggested that there was more to the story than what was immediately apparent, and it urged Ethan to trust his instincts and look beyond the surface. As the days went by, Ethan's frustration grew. He was caught between trying to manage the company, dealing with the accusation against Samantha, and the mounting pressure from Robert's schemes. But one thing became increasingly clear. The path to resolving the issue lay not just in uncovering the truth but in demonstrating his own integrity and leadership. Ethan knew that proving himself meant standing firm against manipulation and maintaining a commitment to fairness and honesty. As the days ticked by, Ethan Parker remained under immense pressure. His new role as head of the company was increasingly complicated by Robert Adams's malicious accusations against Samantha, the housemaid. Despite Ethan's determination to uncover the truth, the situation seemed to spiral out of control. His father, Henry Parker, was too withdrawn and ill to offer any guidance, leaving Ethan to navigate the treacherous waters of office politics alone. Ethan's investigation into the theft accusation took a crucial turn one afternoon. As he reviewed the security footage from the office, he was met with a confusing array of images. The footage showed Robert entering and leaving his office numerous times, but none of it conclusively proved that Samantha had been involved. Frustration gnawed at Ethan as he struggled to piece together the puzzle. One evening, Ethan received an unexpected visit from Samantha. She looked troubled and anxious but was determined to speak with him. "Mr. Parker," she began, her voice trembling, "I know you're trying to clear my name, and I appreciate it, but there's something you need to know." Ethan's curiosity piqued. "What is it, Samantha?" "I found something," Samantha said, pulling out a crumpled note from her pocket. "It was left in the storage room. I didn't know who it was meant for, but it might be important." Ethan took the note and read it carefully. It contained a vague message. "The truth lies where the eyes can't see. Look closer." The cryptic nature of the note only deepened the mystery. Ethan's instincts told him there was more to this than a simple theft. Determined to uncover more, Ethan decided to set a trap to catch the real culprit. He planned to use a briefcase filled with $100 million, an amount that would surely grab attention and expose anyone with nefarious intentions. He carefully placed the briefcase in Robert's office and ensured that its presence was known to everyone. Ethan's decision to use such a large sum was driven by his need for decisive action. He needed to see if Robert would take the bait or if someone else was involved. The briefcase, prominently placed in Robert's office, became the focus of speculation among the staff. The following day, Ethan watched closely as employees passed by Robert's office. He was hoping for a clue, a slip-up, or anything that could indicate who was behind the theft. The office buzzed with gossip about the briefcase, and Robert's demeanor became increasingly suspicious. Later that afternoon, Ethan received another surprise. Tom Harris, a middle-aged lawyer with a reputation for being reliable but now visibly anxious, came to his office. Tom was known for his dedication to his work and his family. His recent behavior, however, had been off. Ethan suspected that Tom might be connected to the situation in some way. "Mr. Parker, I need to talk to you," Tom said, his voice tight with worry. "I heard about the briefcase and the accusations. I want to explain something." Ethan motioned for Tom to sit. "Go ahead, Tom." Tom took a deep breath. "I'm the one who's been stealing. I did it to get money for my mother's urgent surgery. I didn't mean to cause any trouble, but when Robert found out, he threatened to expose me unless I helped him with his scheme." Ethan was taken aback. "So, Robert is behind this?" Tom nodded, tears welling in his eyes. "Robert was planning to use me as a pawn. He wanted to create a diversion with the theft accusation to cover his own tracks. He intended to frame Samantha to shift suspicion away from himself." Ethan's mind raced as he processed this new information. It became clear that Robert's scheme was more elaborate than he had imagined. Robert's manipulation and Tom's desperation had created a complex web of deceit. Before Ethan could respond, Samantha entered the room, looking worried but determined. She had overheard part of the conversation. "Mr. Parker, I need to tell you something else," Samantha said. "I've been trying to understand what's going on. My father is an important investor, and I wanted to see how the company operates from the ground up. I didn't want anyone to know because I wanted to see the real state of things." Ethan's eyes widened. "So, "You're not just a housemaid?" Samantha shook her head. "No. I'm trying to protect the company from Robert's schemes. I knew something was wrong, but I didn't have concrete proof until now." The revelation that Samantha was the daughter of a major investor was startling. It explained her seemingly incongruous position and her keen awareness of the company's inner workings. Ethan felt a surge of relief and frustration. He was grateful to have uncovered part of the truth, but he knew that confronting Robert and addressing the corruption within the company would be the next crucial step. As Ethan and Samantha discussed their next move, the stakes grew higher. They knew that to clear Samantha's name and restore integrity to the company, they had to act swiftly and decisively. The tension and intrigue of the situation underscored the challenges Ethan faced in his new role, and the path ahead was fraught with uncertainty and danger. With the briefcase containing $100 million as a focal point in the investigation, Ethan was determined to expose Robert's deceit and safeguard the company's future. The mystery was far from resolved, and Ethan's journey was only beginning. The tension in Ethan Parker's office was palpable. The revelations about Robert Adams's schemes and Tom Harris's theft had set the stage for a critical showdown. As Ethan and Samantha worked together to expose the corruption, their plan was to use the briefcase containing $100 million as a key piece of evidence. The stakes were high, and every decision counted. Ethan and Samantha carefully planned their next move. They knew that Robert's manipulation had gone unchecked for too long and that revealing the truth required precision. With Tom's confession and Samantha's insider knowledge, they had a foundation, but the full picture remained incomplete. One afternoon, Ethan called an emergency meeting with Robert in his office. Samantha, Tom, and Ethan were present, their faces reflecting the gravity of the situation. Ethan opened the meeting with a firm tone. "Robert, we need to discuss some serious matters." Ethan began, his eyes locking with Robert's. "It's come to my attention that you've been involved in some unethical practices, including framing Samantha and trying to sabotage the company." Robert's face paled, but he quickly masked his shock with a veneer of arrogance. "I don't know what you're talking about, Ethan. These are just baseless accusations." Ethan wasn't deterred. "We have proof. Tom has admitted to stealing to cover his mother's medical expenses, but he also revealed that you coerced him into your scheme. We know you planned to use the theft to distract from your own fraudulent activities." Robert's facade cracked. "This is ridiculous. You have no real evidence." Ethan remained calm. "Actually, we do. The briefcase with $100 million is central to your scheme. We've set up a sting operation to expose you." Robert's eyes widened in alarm. "A sting operation?" Ethan nodded. "Yes, we placed the briefcase in your office to see how you would react. We've monitored the situation closely, and it's clear you've been manipulating things from behind the scenes." As Robert processed the accusation, his composure faltered. "You're making a mistake. I've been working to protect the company. I just wanted to ensure the right decisions were made." Samantha stepped forward, her voice steady. "If you were truly protecting the company, you wouldn't have resorted to deceit and manipulation. You're trying to create a fake contract to bankrupt the company and cover your tracks." Robert's attempts to deny his wrongdoing only further exposed his guilt. Ethan and Samantha had prepared evidence of Robert's plan, including documents proving his attempts to create fraudulent contracts. The evidence was overwhelming. At that moment, Ethan's phone buzzed with a new message. It was from the security team, confirming that Robert had been caught on camera tampering with the briefcase and attempting to frame Samantha. The final piece of evidence was in place. As Robert was escorted out of the office by security, Ethan felt a mixture of relief and frustration. The battle against corruption was far from over, but this was a significant victory. He turned to Samantha and Tom, both of whom had played crucial roles in exposing the truth. "Thank you for your bravery and honesty," Ethan said, addressing Samantha and Tom. "You've both helped uncover a major threat to the company. We have a lot of work ahead of us, but we'll rebuild with integrity." Tom, visibly relieved, nodded. "I'm sorry for my actions. I never meant for things to get this far. I just wanted to help my family." Ethan placed a reassuring hand on Tom's shoulder. "We'll find a way to help you, Tom. Your situation isn't ideal, but we can work through it together." Samantha smiled faintly. "And what about the briefcase?" "It's still sitting in Robert's office." Ethan glanced at the briefcase, now a symbol of the company's trials. "The briefcase will be returned to its rightful place. It's not just about the money, it's about trust and transparency. We need to ensure that everything is handled properly." As the meeting concluded, Ethan reflected on the events that had unfolded. The discovery of Robert's deceit and the revelation of Samantha's true identity had been pivotal moments. They had exposed the contrast between appearances and true character, reinforcing the importance of personal integrity. The company's future depended on rebuilding trust and maintaining ethical standards. Ethan understood that his leadership would be tested in the days ahead, but he felt more prepared to face the challenges. With Samantha's support and the lessons learned from the ordeal, he was determined to steer the company toward a brighter, more honest future. The battle against corruption was not over, but Ethan was ready to face it head-on. The briefcase containing $100 million had been a catalyst for change, and the path ahead was filled with both opportunities and challenges. The journey of personal growth, integrity, and true character was only just beginning. The aftermath of Robert's ousting and the exposure of his schemes had left the Parker family business in a state of transition. Ethan Parker had emerged from the turmoil with a renewed sense of purpose, but the path to rebuilding the company and his personal life was still unfolding. The briefcase containing $100 million had become a symbol of both the challenges they faced and the integrity they hoped to restore. The following weeks were intense as Ethan, with Samantha's support, worked to stabilize the company. They focused on dismantling the fraudulent contracts Robert had attempted to create and ensuring that all financial records were corrected. Ethan's leadership was put to the test, but he approached each challenge with determination and a clear vision for the company's future. One evening, after a long day of meetings and paperwork, Ethan and Samantha sat together in Ethan's office. The space, once tense and filled with the echoes of deceit, now felt more hopeful. Ethan looked over at Samantha, who had been instrumental in uncovering the corruption. "You've been amazing through all this," Ethan said sincerely. "I can't thank you enough for your help and for sticking by me." Samantha smiled, her eyes reflecting both relief and determination. "I'm just glad we could set things right, and I'm grateful for the chance to prove myself beyond appearances." Ethan nodded. "I've learned a lot about leadership and integrity. It's been a tough road, but I'm starting to see that it's not just about running a business. It's about doing what's right, even when it's difficult." Samantha reached out and took Ethan's hand. "You've shown a lot of growth. Your honesty and commitment have made a real difference." As they talked, Ethan couldn't help but reflect on his past, particularly his relationship with Jessica. He had learned that true worth wasn't defined by wealth or luxury, but by character and values. His experience with Jessica had taught him that personal connections and genuine affection were far more important than appearances. A knock on the door interrupted their conversation. Ethan's father, Henry, entered the office, looking weary but relieved. The strain of the recent events had taken a toll on him, but he was proud of Ethan's progress. "Ethan," Henry said, his voice filled with a mix of pride and concern, "I've been watching how you've handled things. I know it hasn't been easy, but you've shown true leadership." Ethan stood up, extending his hand to his father. "Thank you, Dad. It means a lot coming from you. I've learned so much through all of this, and I'm committed to making the company better and more ethical." Henry nodded, his eyes softening. "I'm glad to hear that. I was wrong to keep you out of the business for so long. You've proven that you have the integrity and vision to lead." With Robert's schemes exposed and Tom's situation addressed, Ethan turned his attention to the future. The company was on the path to recovery, and he was focused on ensuring that such corruption would never again threaten its integrity. The briefcase with $100 million had been returned to the company's vault, its contents a reminder of the trials they had faced and the principles they had upheld. Ethan and Samantha continued to work closely, their bond growing stronger. They had faced the challenges together and had found not only a professional partnership but a deep personal connection. Ethan realized that his true happiness lay not in wealth or status, but in the values and relationships he had built. In a final gesture of commitment, Ethan declined his father's suggestion of a marriage arrangement with another wealthy investor's daughter. Instead, he chose to build his future with Samantha, someone who had shown unwavering support and integrity throughout the ordeal. As the company began to thrive once more, Ethan felt a profound sense of accomplishment. He had navigated the complexities of leadership, uncovered and addressed corruption, and discovered the true meaning of personal growth. His journey was a testament to the power of integrity and the value of true character over appearances. The story of Ethan Parker and his transformation from a young man grappling with leadership to a leader with a clear moral compass became a cornerstone of the company's new direction. The lessons learned were not just about business, but about the importance of honesty, growth, and genuine connections. And so, as the sun set over San Francisco, casting a warm glow over the city, Ethan and Samantha looked forward to a future filled with promise. Their story was one of overcoming adversity and embracing the values that truly mattered, marking the beginning of a new chapter for both their lives and the company.